When you feel behind in life, stop doing this. Part 1. The quiet habit no one talks about. If you feel behind in life, there's one habit you probably don't even realize you're doing. It's quiet, feels logical, and almost everyone who feels behind does it. They replay their past, over and over, moments they regret, choices they would change, versions of themselves they wish they had been. And while reflection can be healthy, this kind of replay slowly drains you. Today I want to talk about why this habit keeps you stuck, and what to do instead. Part 2. Why your mind keeps going back. When life doesn't look the way you expected, your mind tries to find answers. It goes backward, searching for the moment where things went wrong, that breakup, that missed opportunity, that year you wish you could redo. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you. Thinks, if I understand the mistake, I can avoid it again. But here's the problem. You're not the same person anymore. You're judging an old version of yourself with the awareness you have now, and that's not fair. Part 3. Regret feels productive, but it isn't. Regret feels like work. It feels responsible, like you're holding yourself accountable. But regret without compassion doesn't lead to growth. It leads to paralysis. You stay stuck in your head, thinking your way forward, instead of living your way forward. And the more time you spend replaying the past, the harder it becomes to trust yourself in the present. Part 4. The myth of, if I had just tried harder, if I had just started earlier, if I had just known better. These thoughts sound reasonable, but they're built on a false assumption that you could have known better. You made decisions with the information you had, the emotional capacity you had, and the tools you had at the time. You didn't fail. You adapted. Part 5. How this keeps you feeling behind. When you live in the past, the present starts to feel smaller. You lose confidence in your timing. You hesitate. You second guess. You start believing that action is risky, because what if you mess up again? So you wait, and waiting quietly turns into more time passing, which only reinforces the feeling of being behind. Not because you are, but because you stopped moving. Part 6. Forgiveness is a practical skill. Forgiveness isn't about pretending things didn't hurt. It's about releasing yourself from constant self-punishment. Forgiveness sounds emotional, but it's actually practical. It gives you your energy back. It lets you say, I don't need to suffer to prove I learned. You already learned. Part 7. A gentler way to look at your past. Instead of asking, why did I mess up? Try asking, what was I trying to protect back then? Often the answer is simple. You were trying to avoid pain, belong, survive, feel safe. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Part 8. You don't need to redeem yourself. Many people who feel behind carry a quiet belief. I need to make up for lost time. So they rush, overcommit, push themselves too hard. But you don't need to redeem yourself. Your worth didn't decrease because your timeline slowed down. You don't need to earn permission to move forward. You already have it. Part 9. What to do instead. This is important. If you want to stop feeling behind, shift your focus from fixing the past to building trust with yourself now. Start small. Keep promises that only you know about. Choose consistency over intensity. Let progress be quiet. Momentum isn't loud. It's subtle. And it builds when you stop arguing with where you are. Part 10. You are not running out of time. This fear sits under everything. That time is slipping away. That you waited too long. But time doesn't punish honesty. It responds to movement. Not rushed movement. Not perfect movement. Just movement. One decision at a time. Part 11. Why self-criticism feels safer than hope. For many people who feel behind, self-criticism becomes a strange form of safety. If you're hard on yourself first, No one else can disappoint you more than you already have. Feels controlled, predictable. Hope, on the other hand, feels risky, because hoping means believing that something good could still happen, and that vulnerability can feel terrifying when you've already been disappointed by life. So instead, people stay critical. They stay guarded. They tell themselves they're just being realistic. But realism without compassion slowly becomes a cage, and you don't heal by shrinking your expectations forever. Part 12. You don't need a big turning point. A lot of people wait for a dramatic moment to change everything. A breakthrough, a sudden burst of motivation, a sign that now it's finally time. But most real change doesn't arrive loudly. It happens quietly, in small decisions, in moments where you choose not to give up, in showing up imperfectly. You don't need a new personality. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to stay engaged with your life, instead of waiting to feel ready. Readiness often comes after action, not before it. Part 13. The cost of staying stuck in preparation. One of the sneakiest ways people delay their lives is staying in preparation mode. Planning, researching, overthinking. It feels productive, but it keeps you safe from failure. Because as long as you're preparing, you can't fail yet, but you also can't move forward. There comes a point where preparation is no longer protection, it's avoidance. And you don't need to have everything figured out to take the next step. You just need to take a step. Part 14. Small movement builds self-trust. Confidence doesn't appear suddenly. It's built through evidence. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, follow through when no one is watching, choose action over avoidance, you're sending yourself a message. I can trust me. That trust is what reduces the fear of making another mistake. Not perfection, not certainty, just proof that you'll show up, even when things feel unclear. Part 15. Letting go of the version of you that should have been. One of the hardest things to release is the imagined version of yourself. The one who started earlier. The one who didn't hesitate. The one who made all the right choices. That version doesn't exist, and holding on to them keeps you disconnected from who you are now. You don't need to become who you should have been. You need to become who you are becoming. That's the only version you can build from. Part 16. You're allowed to move forward without proof. You don't need external validation to begin again. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need to prove that you're worthy of progress. You're allowed to move forward, simply because you're ready to stop standing still. And readiness doesn't always feel confident. Sometimes it just feels like quiet exhaustion with staying where you are. That's enough. If you're watching this and feeling the weight of lost time, I want you to remember this. You don't fix your life all at once. You don't erase the past. You don't suddenly become fearless. You build forward, one honest step at a time. And some days, the bravest thing you'll do is simply not give up on yourself. That counts. You don't need to rush. You don't need to catch up. And you don't need to punish yourself for learning at your own pace. You're not behind in the way you think. You're in the middle. And the middle is where change actually happens. You're still becoming.